Thank you so much for joining us for this webinar. As we have guys coming in for this particular meeting, we will actually have to start. Kevin, thank you so much for getting time to come spend some time with us. We're looking forward for some good insights for the CAPM. And I expect the team as well. We have over 50 registrations, so I'm hoping that guys will join in as we move on. And as we look forward to a bigger quorum, we can invite the board members. I can see Jean, she's with us, the president, and any other member, please. Board member, kindly just give us some bit of what's happening on your end. As we look forward as well to talk to Abdul. Abdul, you're going to invite Kevin. So over to you, Jean. If there's any other board member that probably have not, let me see. Yeah. There's Abdul, there's Jean. I'm expecting Ken to join as well. Then we can actually just start off with it. Thank you. Over to you, Jean.
Thanks. Thank you very much, Brenda. And thank you for organizing this very, very timely webinar. But before I say anything, let me let Abdul, who is the VP for education and the person who is really driving us on the education side, to say something. Abdul, please go ahead.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Abdul. I'm the VP for Education and Professional Development. The one who is behind organizing these webinars. I've started this series of all you need to know about PMI certification. We started with program management. Now we are doing CPM. Next we'll do risk. So we are targeting different groups, and that for people who want to do different certifications. We want to make people to be more aware that there is more than PMP certification from PMI. So I hope you all have an informative evening. Kevin will take us through. Ken is one of our ATPs, and in these sessions, we are also bringing in the ATPs to bring closer collaboration between PMI Kenya and the local ATPs. Thank you. Well, everybody, welcome to this webinar. Jean, you can go on, then we can invite Kevin to start the webinar.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thanks, Abdul. I hope you can hear me clearly. I am very, very excited about this webinar. This is the beginning of something that we've been planning for a long time in at least with the board members, just to make sure that we are growing the education side. And we have been, like Abdul mentioned, we have been working actually to build this particular forum so that we can promote not just the PMP, but as well the CAPM. And this is very much in line with the university outreach program that we have been running since last year. I'm very pleased to inform the members who are here that actually today we signed an MOU with the Catholic University of East Africa, and we have also signed one with the Southeastern Kenya University and looking to do another one with Mount Kenya University, so that we can bring in the university students. And the entry point for the university students is the CAPM. This is why this has become important. This is why we need to elevate it, so that at least we can give even the graduate students a chance to start off on a very good footing in terms of certification, because they don't have the experience yet to do the PMP, but they do have the qualifications. They will have the qualifications and the knowledge to do that. And we're working with the universities to do curricular review and so on. So if you're on this call today and you're trying to see how can you start your professional certification in project management, this is the right place to start. And like Abdul has also mentioned, we are working very closely with the university, with the ATPs, or the authorized training providers. And I'm very, very glad that Peak Point Consulting have started. We did have the Disciplined Agile last month with IAPM with Clement Kiteto. So I'm very glad that we're able to have such a close collaboration with the ATPs, and I hope that we can continue this and we can continue to work together for the benefit of the members. So Kevin, I'm very happy. I'm glad that you're here. Thank you for taking the time and with Brenda to organize such a good forum so that they can the students, the participants online can hear about CAPM. And I would challenge the people who are online, the attendees, ask questions. When you're listening to what Kevin is going to tell you, please line up your questions, post them on the chat group. Don't come out with any questions still lingering, and then get the contacts of the people who can further your career. And the chapter is here to support you in your career journey. So thank you so much for setting this up, Brenda, and to Kevin and Abdul. And we look forward to listening to what is happening. I might have to hop off because I'm in the middle of a workshop, but I didn't want to miss the startup. So thank you so much. And over to you, Kevin. Tell us what you have on the CAPM.
Okay, thank you, Jean. Indeed, grateful. It's an honor for me to be with all the attendees this evening. I want to confirm that my audio is okay.
Yep, your audio is fine, Kevin.
Okay, great. Thank you. You know, one of the beauty about COVID was the advent of these online events, and you know, as I speak to you, I know it's evening back at home. I mean, it's 10 in the morning where I am. So I am in a conference. I had to sneak out and come and make sure that I do this presentation. But I mean, I'm so grateful that that we're having this conversation. So welcome everybody. I'm going to take you through the Certified Associate in Project Management, that is the CAPM, and basically looking at the certification. And maybe a little bit about myself. I'm an engineer by profession, and I work full-time, mostly at the Kenya Power. That is where I do most of my work. And I have a lot of passion for project management, and I'll tell you my story a little bit in a few short while. So I've managed quite a number of projects in the energy sector. For now, I think it's more than heading to 10 years. So I've trained in the aspect of both PMP, CAPM, and other leadership courses. So I'm passionate about training. In key about in this aspect, maybe later on with some of you, is the aspect of leadership, where of course I'm a certified Maxwell leadership trainer, coach, and speaker. So welcome everybody. I hope we're going to enjoy. Before I start, I always I like to tell my story, and my story is captured very well in this quote from John Wooden. He says that when the opportunity comes, it's too late to prepare. When opportunity comes, it's too late to prepare. You see, 8 years ago, I saw an opportunity with a very leading global company, and I was interested. Like everybody, we all have a desire to work for some particular organizations. I remember when I was in campus, you know, everybody desired to work for the big five. You know, if you want to work for PMG, you know, Deloitte, Ernst & Young, you know, all those, and everybody has a desire, particular desire to work for a particular organization, especially when you're beginning, you know, when you're young in your career and all. So to me, 8 years ago, I saw an opportunity online, and I applied for the job. They wanted a lead project engineer in East Africa, and I had all the qualifications, all the experience that they wanted, and I did the application. I was called for of course, you do the normal aptitude tests and, you know, preparation for the interview, and I got to a point where I needed to meet now the regional director and of course the HR team. and I went through an interview. I remember it was on a Thursday afternoon. I was among the last person on the interview for that day. So I went to the interview room and I'm asked a couple of questions, no more interview questions, tell us about yourself, what do you see yourself, how did you get to hear about the opportunity, the normal interview questions. The final person to ask the questions was the regional director. And I remember her asking me a question, Kevin, you've done well in your interview so far. I could just want to know, do you have any certification? Because I was to be the lead project engineer in the region. Do you have any certification in project management? Well, at the back of my mind, I'm trying to struggle to answer because I did not have any. I did not have any at that time. So I was trying to, I'm trying to tell her, yes, I do not have a certification in project management. But you see, in my 5th year, I did a course in a unit on project management for engineers and all. On my mind, something keeps on ringing. When I was in my 5th year, back in campus, I remember the lecturer who was taking us through the course of project management for engineers was a PMP. And in so many of his classes, he had mentioned that this is a good course for you. I highly recommend that you actually be PMPs even as you plan to leave, as you go out into your careers and pursue your careers. Well, here I was 3 years later, and I'm trying to interview. I have no certification, and it's now required. Well, to cut the long story short, as I leave the interview room, I am walking towards the interview room was about 1 kilometer from the main road. So I'm walking towards the main road to about 700 meters or so to get my matatu. I think after 5 or so minutes, that a car pulls by, and the lady in asks me, "Where are you going?" I tell her I'm going to town. She tells me I'm not going to town, but I can get you a ride to the bus stop. So she gives me a ride. I mean, those few minutes, about 3 or so minutes, really changed my life. She told me this, that you did very well in the interview, but unfortunately, at IBM, we take certifications a little bit too seriously. So if you are not certified, yes, you did very well, but I don't want you to keep hope. You can't get this job. That's what she was trying to tell me. I mean, that broke my spirit, because I mean, I have always wanted to work for IBM. I had always desired to work for IBM, and this was a perfect opportunity. So everything else, I got everything else, but I do not have the certification. And that is where my journey into being a PMP started. Now, I love this quote because many of you in the call are probably there. Sometimes we procrastinate. You're not too sure. Should I start this thing? But ladies and gentlemen, when opportunity comes, it will be too late for you to prepare. It will be too late for you to prepare. So I hope, as I take you through this journey of the CAPM, some of you who see value for it, some of you who probably might be thinking of other certifications. The point is, please prepare. Please prepare before the opportunity comes. When the opportunity shall come, it will be too late, like it was in my case. It might be too late for you to get that chance. It might be too late for you to start preparing. So let me take you through the course content I want to basically, my goal this evening is I want us to, first of all, on a very high level, appreciate the importance of project management. Then I would want us to appreciate what exactly is the certified associate in project management, and why should you be interested in the certified associate in project management. I'll want to give you some glimpse into the course content outline. What does it entail? What does it entail? Why should you be interested? Why should you invest your time, your money, and your resources into wanting the certification? Because I know sometimes people have questions, what is the differences between CAPM and PMP? I'll try to give you just some little glimpse on the differences of the two certifications. They are very related. They're very closely related, but of course very distinct. Then of course, I know some people will be asking, well, I want to do the CAPM. What is the cost implication? What is the price? What is the price? Remember, there's no free lunch. Even as you prepare for the opportunities, even as you have to pay the price. So what is the price for this? Then I'll take you through the course content, or that's a repetition of that. And then of course, I'll want to have what is the next thing for you to do? What is the next thing for you to do? So the importance of project management. Over the last 1.5 years, I've been at the heart. For those of you in Nairobi, you know about the expressway. For those of us, of course, in Kenya, we might not have seen it, but we have heard of it. This is a major project happening. I think this is the biggest project so far that has happened in the recent past within our country, and indeed within East Africa, value-wise in terms of the money investment. And over the last 1 or so years, I've been at the heart of that project because I'm doing quite a lot of activities, related to, of course, my career line in the project. And when I look at the number of project managers, and this is probably something that we'll talk on a later date, the number of project managers in that project, and every time, because of my passion towards this aspect of developing projects and project leaders and project managers, I always want to ask people, if they know about PMP or if they have any certification. And I'm very passionate about that. And sometimes people tell me that, I don't have a certification, and I want to recruit them into the certification. Because I train, but because there is value in the certification. There's value in the certification. I don't really care much who trains you, even if you're doing it on your own, but there's a value in that certification. So projects exist to bring strategy to life. Organizations, countries, continents, regions, they have strategies. Organizations will have 5-10-year strategies. We all know about the Vision 2030. The Vision 2030 is basically a strategy for the country Kenya, where we desire to be in the next many years. So, and if you take time to read through the Vision 2030, you discover it's about projects. It's about projects that have to be implemented for us to be able to get to the strategy. So, ladies and gentlemen, projects exist to bring a strategy to life. Organizations having strategies that we want to be here in 2030. We want to be here in the next 5 years. We want to be here in the next 2 years. And even on a very personal level, we all want to, maybe some of you could be fresh from university, some of you are already working, and you have some personal aspirations. And you know that for me to move from status A to status B, probably I need to do a master's, probably I need to do a PMP, probably I need to do a CAPM, probably I need to do some kind of self-improvement. And there is a strategy, and there's a project, that you're going to do within your self-improvement to be able to make this strategy of yours come to life. That is what projects do. And it doesn't matter whether they're personal projects, whether they're organizational projects, whether they are whichever project you're talking about, the essence is to bring a strategy to life. Now, where does project management then come into play? Project management ensures that organizations realize value. Remember, all projects consume resources, be they financial resources, be it time resources, be it material, physical and material resources. All those are resources, and resources are not infinite. We have finite resources. Organizations, individuals, countries, we don't have infinite resources. We have finite resources. So we want to use these resources well, and that is where project management comes on board, and that is why organizations will want to hire you. That is why IBM was looking for a project engineer to lead their projects. It's so that you're able to add value, to bring value to the organization. So project management ensures that organizations are getting value, from the projects. That is the whole essence of project management. We say that in project management, projects are vehicles for value, that the end goal of projects is basically to deliver value for organizations. So traditionally, we've known that projects are about delivering project management is about making sure that we have project delivered on time, scope, budget, and of course at the center, those are what we call the triple constraints. Quality. That has been the traditional way of wanting to look at projects. But in the recent past, and indeed so much emphasis when we shall be talking about the PMI certifications, one of the things that now we're trying to also move our focus into is that aspect of developing teams, developing people, developing individuals. Because let's face it, it doesn't matter what kind of projects you're thinking about. All projects are delivered through people. All projects are delivered through people. And the aspect of people, the aspect of developing teams, developing people becomes very key. And that is why even within the CAPM, I'll be talking about the course content shortly. There is some aspect of leadership, and there is some aspect of communication, because we cannot lead if we cannot communicate. There's a lot of aspects on negotiations, and of course we have within the CAPM we have a small intro into emotional intelligence, which is really about developing people, developing teams, making individuals great. And that is really about servant leadership that, of course, it's covered separately when we talk about leadership within CAPM. And this is now becoming very key in projects, because sometimes, as what I've noticed for most project leaders and project managers, we want to focus so much on the processes. You're able to schedule, you're able to budget, you're able to come up with your quality plan. But then we leave out the people. I mean, we cannot leave out the people. The people are the guys who are going to implement all these grand ideas we have within the project. So people developing teams, developing people become very key. Towards the end of I think among the last slides, I'll talk about one of the talks I'll be giving very soon on developing high-performing teams, and why it's very key, and probably call upon all of you to, if you can join in that call. It will be a very important call, I believe so, because I'm passionate about this aspect of developing people and teams. So what then is the Certified Associate in Project Management, CAPM? CAPM basically stands for the Certified Associate in Project Management. It's one of the certifications that are offered by PMI. The PMI offers a range of certifications from PMPs. We have one on risk, we have one on program management, discipline, agile, quite a number of certifications. So CAPM is one of them. This is a Certified Associate in Project Management. It's a specialized credential offered by the Project Management Institute that improves credibility and offers the project space an opportunity to increase their, offers those in the project space. This should be those in the project space, an opportunity to increase their skills to be able to lead larger projects and advance their careers. So ladies and gentlemen, CAPM is an entry-level certification in terms of those of you who are in campus, who are just coming from campus, who do not have so much experience managing projects, but are keen in developing a career in project management. And then when I was explaining the value of project management, or the role, what is project management and why we should be interested in it, one thing that I always like to tell people is, as a trainer, in the past, we used to find people who are coming for the training, guys in the IT world, guys in the architects, engineers. But now we're seeing a massive shift in that. Now we're having so many people from the NGO sector. We have so many people from the banking sector. We have so many people in procurement, the space of procurement. Yes, people in procurement are now doing certifications in project management. And the reason is simple, that as organizations become more projectized, now we're having more organizations are beginning to realize that through projects, we can attain a competitive advantage. You see, previously, organizations used to achieve competitive advantages through operations. That means how quickly are we able to produce? Specialization. Now we are moving from that space of specialization because of now we are in the era of artificial intelligence, where we have robots, robotics and the likes, Internet of Things. Now operations, how that bank A has an application or an online system, bank B will equally have the same thing. So nowadays there's no competitive advantage in being more efficient with the operations. I mean, that is not to say that operations are not keen in organizations, no. But now organizations are beginning to appreciate that it is more important that we can get some level of competitive advantage through projects. Now you go to banks, you find more IT people than tailors. I mean, in the past that was not the case. In the past, you used to have more tailors than the IT guys. So basically, projects are now becoming part and parcel of organizations, and that is why this space, I foresee that in the near future, if you're not a project manager, or if you're not investing yourself to develop your project leadership and project management skills, you might be doing some disservice to yourself. You might not be investing for the opportunity, because when the opportunity shall come, it might be too late to prepare. It might be too late to prepare. So invest in yourself. Think about, your career line, the next 5-10 years. Where do you find, where does the aspect of project management come into play? And be ready for it. Don't wait like I did. It will be too late to prepare. So the CAPM is a great introductory credential to jumpstarting a career in the field of project management. So CAPM is largely, as I mentioned earlier, it's an introductory credential. So those of you who are within, you are still a university student, or you've just finished university, you've not gotten a job. I mean, you say, well, instead of just waiting and can I be ready? Can I invest in myself and be ready so that when the opportunity shall come, I will be there, I will have achieved and I'm not waiting. So that is the CAPM, and it's offered by PMI. Because I've mentioned PMI, probably it's out of justice to just let you know what exactly is PMI. PMI was founded in 1969. It's been in existence the last more than 50 years. I was in Tanzania about 3 years back when we were celebrating the 50th anniversary of PMI. It was a beautiful, beautiful celebration. It's a non-profit making organization. Now, PMI is domiciled in the US, but because now the certifications of PMI have become global, now we have local chapters. We have, for instance, the PMI Kenyan chapter, which is which communicates and basically makes sure that the goal of PMI Global is being executed within our country. So we have 303 chapters worldwide in 213 countries. This gives you an idea of, you know, the global nature of the certifications that PMI offers. And when you're talking about project management in particular, I mean, there's no certification that is superior in project management than certifications from PMI. I've had an opportunity of training so many guys, and sometimes I train people who have done a master's in project management who come to our classes, especially those guys who want to now in the PMP class. And every time we finish the classes, again and again, I think we had I had the last training in February. And in one of the classes, no, in November, we had a guy who had, two guys actually, who had a master's in project management from the University of Nairobi. And when we finished the course, they told me the same thing that I was told 4 years ago, you know, when we'd finished a similar class with a group of engineers, and they told me, you know what, we wish we knew about this certification before we did our master's in project management, because we have learned more in the certification that we did learn in the master's program. That is how comprehensive the certifications from PMI is, and in particular the project management certifications. I talk about them because that is what. So PMI has a number of people, about 650,000 plus members, and I always encourage people to be members of PMI when you, of course, you intend to do certification, because there's a lot of benefits that come with being a PMI global member, with being a PMI Kenya chapter member. I mean, you get so many, especially personal development opportunities. Personal development, and personal development is really priceless. Sometimes people come to me, you know, this is costly and all. I tell them, do you see the value you're getting? Because sometimes it's very easy to look at the money and not look at the value. What is the, you know, some value is priceless. So it administers, PMI administers globally recognized certifications, certification programs, including the coveted PMP certification and the CAPM certifications. These are when it comes to people who are new into project management, people who want to make a leap in their project management, PMP certification, the CAPM certifications are really the go-to. In my story, when I was telling you about not being prepared and missing an opportunity at IBM, I later on, just out of curiosity, I went to check online and see how many certified project managers are there in IBM. Now, at the time when I was doing the interview, IBM had about 65,000, about 65 to 6,600, to 66,000 employees. And of those employees, 35,600 were PMP certified. I mean, I remember those numbers because, to be honest, as I mentioned to you, you know, when you're passionate about an organization and you want to work there, you really get to appreciate. So later on, I'm just appreciating. These guys were not giving me a job because I don't have a certification in project management. What exactly is their track record? That tells you when an organization is investing, having more than 50% of their employees being certified, what that means, what that certification means. So for those of you who probably done a diploma or even a course in project management, one of the things that I'm certain you've used was a guide to the project management body of knowledge. That is, we call it the PEM book guide. The PEM book guide. If you went to university and you are doing your project management, either certificate or diploma or degree, and the lecturer who was teaching you never made reference to the PEM book guide, I request that you go and seek some refund of your money, because some disservice was done to you, because this is the standard of project management worldwide. It doesn't matter whether you're in the US, whether you're in India, whether you're in China, whichever country you are in, and you're studying project management, we have to make reference to the PMBOK guide because that is the standard for project managers worldwide. I mean, and it's from PMI. It's from PMI. It is a common reference point. At least, if you remember my story when I was telling you in my 5th year, one of the reference material that we were using was the PMBOK guide. That is why I knew, I knew about PMP and the CAPM certification. I just wasn't ready. Well, I just wasn't willing to invest in myself. Remember one thing, when opportunity comes, it will be too late to prepare. So you rather prepare now. So I want you to listen into this short clip, and hopefully it will. Let me see. I'm trying to. Sorry. Okay, I'm trying to get a way of playing the clip. Sorry for that.
"50 years ago, when PMI was founded, project management was a thing."
Just confirm to me that you can hear the audio of the video.
Clear.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Yes, I can hear.
It's not very clear.
We lost the audio.
You can't hear it?
No, we can't.
Yeah, after saying it's clear, it was.
Okay, I'm not sure why that is the case. Let me just try to redo that again. Is it clear?
No, we don't have it.
Okay, I'm not sure.
No, it's not.
I'm sorry for that.
You may want to stop sharing and reshare again.
That is what I'm
share your
trying.
computer. Yeah,
That
computer
is-
sound.
That is what I want to do. Let me stop the share. I'm more familiar with Zoom than.
Same.
Where do I stop the share? I've seen it. So now I can share again.
Include computer sound.
Okay. Just please. Sorry, just guide me. I need guys to hear this. I need to. I need to make sure. Where do I share? I need to know where to click the computer sound. Sorry, I'm not so familiar with Teams.
I'm happy to guide. So as you're sharing, top right, there's a small icon there that asks you to share computer sound. So you need to click.
Okay, let me see.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can see it. Okay, I'm not sure if I see that. I'm not sure if I see that. I think that is the issue. I know that what the problem is. I just cannot see where to correct the problem from.
Kevin, let me put it in the chat for you.
Okay.
Let me give you a screenshot.
Okay. Thank you.
Check if
Awesome
that
idea.
will help. You see that thing?
So, some minutes.
There is an image in the chat. Are you able to see it? Just go to the go to where the messages are.
I go to the messages. I I can see the chat, yes.
You can see the chat, okay. So there's an image there.
Yes.
Have you seen that image?
So yes, when I
yeah, just below leave, just below leave. When
yes,
you
I
click
see.
on sharing,
Yeah.
below that leave you'll see include computer sound.
Yes, I can see that. The only
okay, so try it again.
Let me
try it and see if it works. Just unshare, then share again and say include computer sound and see if it works.
I hope it works because
yeah. It's a problem for everyone. It's not just you.
Thank you for the consolation. I think it makes me know that at least I'm not alone. So let's see if let me try to take this again if it's okay now.
50 years ago, when PMI was...
Is it any better?
Awesome. Yes.
Bingo.
It's perfect now.
Thank you.
Good.
I've learned this evening.
Founded, project management wasn't a thing yet. But thanks to a fearless group of visionaries and passionate project leaders like you, project management is now a global profession. Every day, everywhere, we transform ideas into reality. But the world of work is changing fast, really fast. So is our profession, and so is PMI. We are expanding our focus, broadening the stories we tell and the roles we play, from start to finish, from inputs to outcomes, from frameworks to whatever works. With your help, we are building a world where people have the skills and capabilities they need to deliver value, no matter what project they're where organizations deliver value to stakeholders through successful completion of projects, delivery of products, and alignment to value streams. We call this work the project economy. And at PMI, we power the project economy, strengthening society by enabling organizations and empowering people to turn ideas into reality. As we look ahead to our next 50 years, what role will you play?
Amazing, amazing. So what role will you play is that what we ask, every time I talk to people who are in the space of project management and they don't have a certification in project management. Oh my goodness, I'm like, you don't know what you're missing. You don't know what you're missing. So PMI has a couple of certifications, and we've mentioned that probably some of you know some of them. We have the program management, we have the PMP certification, we have the certified associate in project management, which is our focus tonight. Then, of course, we have the risk management and we have the scheduling professional. We have now disciplined agile as one of the certification from PMI, and all those. You just need to check what exactly suits into your career and get to have it. And sometimes it might not be suiting it now, but probably looking into the future, you feel like you might need this, you might need risk. The point, the focus for tonight is prepare. When opportunity shall knock, it might be too late to actually do the preparation. So are you preparing? That will be my question throughout this night. So why should you be interested in the Certified Associate in Project Management? Number one, it is the world's most recognized global credential for entry-level project practitioners. So if you're fresh from university, if you are in university, you can still do the Certified Associate in Project Management. It is recognized globally. So when you're in the States, yesterday I'm attending a leadership training conference in Florida. Yesterday I was having a discussion with some guys from Puerto Rico, and we're just having a discussion, a random guy. So I was telling him about, how we do some trainings in project management in Kenya, PMI. And he told me, you mean PMI is in Kenya? That is the beauty about the certification. It doesn't matter where you're talking from, somebody in Puerto Rico or in whichever part of the globe you might be thinking about. Somebody somewhere is doing a certification in project management. And when we see that you are certified, and that is the beauty, I tell people, sometimes people come and ask me, I'm considering a project management diploma or a certification. What do you advise? And I always tell them, go for the certification. Why so? If you're doing a diploma from Kim, and I'm not saying it's wrong. It's very fine. It's perfect. But my point is, if you want to look at global organizations, global companies, global, they tend to have some sense of inclination towards certifications because it is a standardized. We know when you tell me that you've done a diploma from Kim, somebody else has done a diploma from this particular institution, we're not able to judge if it's, what was the level of detail of content in your diploma. But if you're telling me you've done a PMP, you've done a CAPM, you've done program management, I'm able to judge that this is a standardized exam, is a standardized certification. And that is the same thing that happens for guys in the accounting field. And you can imagine why standardization is a good thing. We're able to. Number two, the course content for CAPM is rich. I mean, it is amazing, and you're going to see shortly. And I think I'm going to even skip these 2 slides and go straight to the course content so that I can come back, because I believe we all need to know what exactly is this. What are you signing up to if you were to sign up to the CAPM? Now, the course content for CAPM and indeed PMP are very closely tied, because I said I'm going to share with you the differences in a short while, but the course content for CAPM and PMP are actually more or less the same. We use the same reference, that is a PMBOK 6th edition, as of now. Of you who know something more about PMI, you know that the PMBOK, the 7th edition, is out, but PMI is still not using it as a reference material. We are likely to see the content being incorporated into the exams even as we move on, because PMI has some trial questions in each of the exams that you get to do. So sometimes they bring on board new content just to test the waters. So, but now we're doing the PMBOK 6th edition. And should you sign up to do the CAPM exam, basically your course content is so rich, and this is what the course content covers. We have what we call the knowledge areas, the 10 project management knowledge areas, and this you cover even if you're doing your PMP exam. So for those of you who are in the call and you probably are thinking, I have some experience in project management, well, is this of value to me? Yes, it is of value to you, because you still have the same when you're doing for your PMP exam. So we talk about project integration management, and project integration management is basically to unify all the areas, all the spaces. I'll talk about it later, because it basically marries everything else together. We have project scope management, a beautiful topic. You cannot execute any project unless you're able to appreciate the scope of the project. So here you talk about requirement analysis. What does the client want? What does your customer want? If you are a project manager worth your salt, you cannot start executing a project before understanding the scope of the project. Because, how are you going to give me a budget if you do not appreciate the scope of the project? I have some number of years of experience when it comes to engineering projects, because that is my space. And sometimes I have had a chance of sitting in evaluation committees, 10 evaluation committees, wherever we are advertising for a particular, for guys to come on board to do some particular projects. One of the things I usually see, we're having a project, we have put it out, and some people are tendering. Somebody quotes, I remember there's a project where a particular company was quoting 45 million as the cost of doing the project. And well, the engineer's estimate from our end was the project was to cost about 84 million. That is, when the engineer's estimate is at 84 million, we expect that the tender, the tenders that we get, the tender price should range around that. So when I get somebody quoting for me 45 million, the first question I'm asking myself, did these people really understand what the scope of the works were? Because we cannot have an engineer's estimate at 45 million, at 84 million, then you're quoting for 45 million. There is some discrepancy there. And we really knock you out. We try to, because we have been in evaluation committees long enough to know that the lowest bidders are not necessarily the best bids, because you know, you have to understand the scope of work to be able to quote. So if you do not understand the scope of work, even your budget is definitely a problem. So we talk about schedule management, another very interesting topics for most people who come into the class, who come to the classes, you know, being able to appreciate the different aspects of managing your schedule. You know, how do you schedule your project? How do you link your tasks? How do you identify your critical activities, the critical path method, the critical chain method? You know, and there's a lot of relationship between the schedule, the project schedule, and the project cost, because if you're not able to get your schedule correct, then your cost becomes a major issue. So we move and talk about the project cost management, and here we're interested about budgets. You know, remember I said earlier that resources are finite. We work with finite resources when you're talking about project management and projects. So our interest then is, how do we handle our cost? You know, because the only reason why we're interested in cost when we're talking about projects, it's because of resources. If hiring your services to our project, it was a free, if we could get materials that we wanted for free, then we couldn't be interested with cost. But we're interested with cost because resources cost money, and most importantly, resource organizations do not have infinite resources. One of the beautiful discussion I love listening to when I'm listening to our borrowing is, I mean, how much money we've borrowed to finance some debts that we took to do the SGR and the likes. So the point is, cost is of key essence. Sometimes we do not put some the necessary measures, but it all boils down to scope. You know, if you do not understand your scope, so even getting your schedule, getting your costs becomes really mismatched. So you talk about that. Another topic that you get to cover in the CAPM and really the PMP course content is that of quality management. You know, there is something about quality that customers naturally expect. You know, customers might not ask you, are you going to give us a quality project? They might not even tell you, because they expect that of you. But the question is, do you plan for it? So here, one of the interesting things you get to appreciate when you're talking about quality management is the cost of quality. The quality doesn't come for free. Quality comes at a cost. So we talk about cost of conformance, cost of non-conformance, a beautiful and very interesting topic. This is, I think, where people get now to appreciate the overall aspect of project management. Now we move from the traditional triple constraints of schedule, cost, and scope, which is the focus of many courses, but we now want to look at quality. And we talk about the 7 QCs, the 7 quality management tools, and how to use them. That is the most important thing. Then we talk about resource management. And resources in project, of course, we mean both human resource and physical and material. We talk about all those things. It gives you a very high level and in-depth analysis into resources and how you plan for your resources, and how the rest of the things, you know, when you're talking about scope, how the scope of your project affects your resource planning. And that is where integration comes in play, that all these aspects, whereas we're talking about the knowledge areas independently, they are related. You cannot talk about a change of scope without mentioning a change of schedule and a change of quality and a change quality plans and a change of resources. Then, of course, communication management. We said that in projects, 90% of your time as project managers, you use it communicating, engaging with stakeholders, engaging with third parties, people who are directly and indirectly interested in the project or the project will affect them. So communication management, how do you communicate? How do you communicate? The level of communication, the amount of detail you're giving different stakeholders is quite different. It's quite different. It's really not the same amount of detail that you give person A. You know, sometimes you to sieve your information, the information giving the senior executives will be very different from the information you're giving your team members. So risk management, you mentioned about risk management, not mentioned, we go into detail on risk management because risk management is of importance. You see, ladies and gentlemen, when we're executing our projects, we are planning for our projects today, but we expect to deliver the project into the future, about maybe 10 or so years, sometimes 10 or so months. So how do you manage risk? So there's an aspect of risk wherever you're talking about projects, and we get to cover all that. So procurement management, very key. Some of you could be working in organizations or could be planning to work in organizations where procurement is a function within the organization. But you see, as a project manager, you need to appreciate the process of procurement because procurement is really a contractual process. And whereas somebody else in the organization might be doing procurement for you, you might be the person managing the contracts. So how do you go about? So you get to understand the different types of contracts here. And then, of course, we have stakeholder management or stakeholder engagement. This is a very important topic because all our projects, we are dealing with stakeholders. We're engaging stakeholders. That is the cost content of PMP. So you get to appreciate, sorry, the CAPM. So you get to appreciate why I'm saying that the cost content is rich. I mean, the thing that you get to cover in the certification are quite interesting and I think you can now be able to appreciate the standardization I was talking about. That when you're telling us that you're a CAPM and you're in Kenya, and I am telling you I'm a CAPM and I'm in South Africa, we can talk, we can relate. I know what you have covered. I know the level of depth, the level of understanding that you bring into my project. So maybe some of you are on the call and you're wondering, well, is this certification for me? Is it worth, you know, why should I invest my time, my resources into this certification? Well, just maybe a few factors that that might inform your decision this evening. Number one is your current or your desired employers. So if you desire to work for IBM like I did so many years ago, then probably those, you know, you need to know who is your employer. Some employers will not take you on board if you do not have a particular certification. And now we're beginning to see, I saw about 2 years ago, I saw certification, the KPA, Kenya Ports Authority, wanted a project engineer. And one of the requirements was that they must be a PMP. Actually, it was a PMP. They were very specific then. And one guy who got them, who was an engineer that I knew, of course, well, he was previously in our classes. It was actually very soon after our classes, and he did the exam, I think in 1 or 2 months. And I asked him, did you know about the job? Because how do you just finish the PMP and he got the job? That is what I'm trying to say. So your desired or your current employer, some employers right now, I think like in Safaricom, I think Safaricom currently within the country has the highest number of PMPs. So if you see a company has so many PMPs or CAPMs for that matter, you really want to, and your desire is to work there, you really want to position yourself so that when an opportunity shall open, you are not going to run to say, hey, can I come and train with you guys? You know, I have an interview coming up next week. One of the things I like doing when we're doing the trainings, when people just come into the class, is to ask them, why are you interested in the certification? You know, I always ask that question. Number one, just to get the, you know, what are the expectations of people? These are my stakeholders. What are the expectations? So I can be able to manage them or to see if I can exit them. But number two, I just want to check the trends within, you know, within the different demographics of guys we train. And I remember last year, I think in our May class, one lady came to the class and she was telling me, you know, I was talking to my boss and my boss tells me that they have a regional position opening up in the next 2 months and I need to be a PMP. I know I will not have done my PMP by then, but at least once I have your certificate, it will show that I'm working towards it. And she did the course. I mean, to be honest, that was the most honest answer I've ever received in any of those. You know, sometimes we want to look good, you want to develop yourself. This lady was very, very honest with me. And of course, she called me. I think I was having a discussion with her sometime late last year, and she told, "Oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you, I actually got the job that I came." So your desired employer. Some employers are very keen on the certifications, so you really want to be ready. You remember my story at the beginning? When opportunity comes, it might be too late to prepare. You really want to prepare now for the opportunity. So professional development goals, some of you just, you've seen the course content, you feel like, oh my goodness, I want to be a better communicator. I want to know how to manage risks. Well, maybe you just want to develop yourself. Why not? If you want to develop yourself, still the certification gives you that chance, that opportunity. Personal growth. Your current profession, some professions by default are project oriented. I mean, you work. I work as a project engineer, and 90% of my time I'm basically handling projects in one way or another. So it will be foolish of me not to develop that space. Being a better project manager, being a better project engineer, so I am able to deliver my projects to grow. That growth and it's really necessary within a career, because nobody's going to give you a promotion until they current profession well. So if your current profession is you are basically into projects, then this is really a certification you want to think through. What is your career path? You are probably looking, you've just graduated from university, or you're in university and you're thinking, well, I would really wish to work for a particular company as a project manager, as a person in projects. And by the way, projects are really, we're now talking about being in the project economy. I mean, there's a webinar I usually do, and I don't know when I'll do it next, but it's usually a free webinar. And I try to take people through the move from operations into projects, and it's a free webinar. And I have some besides the training business, I have a real passion into this space of project management. And I really wish in future when I will be having that webinar, I will really want to invite some of you. You want to really get that so that you can able to position yourself, your career path, because it's good when you see the transition, from how organizations have transited from operations being the key driver of competitive advantage now into the space where we are, which we're calling the project economy. And there is an article on Harvard Business Review on the project economy. You can check that out, by the way. It's a very beautiful article. It gives you a ton of information, better than probably what I've given you in this 1 hour so far that I've covered with you. So the desire to successfully implement your projects. Well, we've seen organizations now are investing in people, they are paying money so that their people can be trained in project management. Of course, a higher salary. I think this is probably what is making most of you smile. You're thinking, oh my goodness, I want to get a higher salary. I want to negotiate for a higher salary. When you have a certification in project management, and when we can see that you are delivering us value for the certification you have, we definitely will want you have a bargaining power. You have a bargaining power. And research after research has shown that certified project managers who have some level of certification have a higher commanding power when it comes to salary prospects. I want to share with you a very short clip again, so that we just to get
Opportunity is knocking loud and clear for project professionals. By 2027, companies around the world will need nearly 88 million individuals working in project management-oriented roles. There's an urgent need for project professionals who can help organizations create and manage disruption. Without a talent surge, global prosperity is at risk. Nearly 22 million new project-oriented roles will need to be filled across 11 countries from 2017 to 2027. And the demand is red hot in rapidly developing economies. Project-oriented jobs in China and India are expected to climb by more than 30% in the next 10 years. There's little mystery where you'll find most of those jobs. But surprise sectors, such as publishing and professional services, will open new doors too. Any way you slice it, global demand for project professionals will be sky high in the years ahead. So seize the opportunity. Your next career challenge is calling. Learn more at PMI.
Okay, there was a little bit, well, the clip was a little bit old in terms of course, most of you know the logo for PMI has changed, but I always find this clip very, very informative in terms of the industries where we're likely to see more projects into the future. And this was before the pandemic. I think now with the pandemic, more projects, this is likely to go even higher. So the CAPM is based on the Project Management Body of Knowledge book, the PEM book guide, the 6th edition, and that is what we use, or it's used globally for project managers. So of course PMI changes earlier. We have a 7th edition which is out, but that is really not in use currently. So some of you are sitting back and wondering, I'm interested in the certification, so am I eligible? What are the eligibility requirements? There are 2 prerequisites for you to be able to sit for the CAPM exam. Number 1 is you have a secondary degree, so that you finished high school, or you have a diploma, or you have an associate degree, or that is in America they call it an associate degree, but basically an undergraduate degree or a global equivalent, so you are eligible to sit. Then it requires that you get at least 23 hours of project management education. So you could attend a training by one of the ATPs or some universities. For instance, I tell people, if you have a master's, or you have an undergraduate degree in project management, that can allow you to sit for the CAPM exam. The only rider I want to put here, especially for those of you who have an undergraduate or a master's and you're thinking about CAPM or the PMP certifications, one of the things that we've noticed is that most people who have not gone through a preparatory course, which covers, basically which uses the PMP course content, or the CAPM course content, that the PEM book guide edition, the 6th edition, get it so difficult in the exams. In many people who have sat for the exams, failed, and then come back for training, are largely people who did not go through the training. So the training might look like, I don't need it because I have an undergraduate. Sometimes people have that mentality. But what I tell people, especially if your course in the undergraduate course, or whichever diploma that you did, was not using the PEM book 6th edition, you really might want to invest and do a course that is based on the PEM book 6th edition. It gives you a lot of edge in terms of in the exam. We say that you need to think the PMI way. There's a way that the course content in the PEM book guide is organized, and that mentality is what you need to have even as you prepare for the exam. So this 23-hour of project management education, it is something good. I highly recommend. It is not mandatory. If you have, for instance, an undergraduate degree in project management, or you have a master's degree or some even a diploma in project management, you can use that to sit for the, PMI will allow you to sit for the PMP or the CAPM exam. However, I highly recommend, it's highly recommendable that you actually do a training that is based on the PMBOK 6th edition. It gives you a bigger edge. It gives you more confidence even as you prepare to sit for your CAPM or the PMP exam. Sorry, again, you notice I'm using PMP and CAPM. It's because the PMBOK 6th edition is basically what the two certifications use. The only difference between the two I will be giving you in a short while. I know I want to give you some time to ask your questions, so I'm trying to rush through. Of course, as you're preparing for the opportunities to come, remember my starting story. You have to prepare. We have to prepare. We have to prepare not to miss opportunities. When opportunities come, it will be too late to prepare. It will be too late to prepare. And that applies in all facets of our life. It doesn't matter whether it's financial, whether it's professional, whether it's personal development. We have to prepare. We have to invest. And it means it's an investment. That means there's a cost associated with it, ladies and gentlemen. So what is the cost? Now, for you to sit for the CAPM exam, you need to pay $225 if you are a PMI member. Now, remember I talked about PMI as the organization. So PMI, we have members of PMI. So you pay to be a member of PMI. You pay $129. That is the membership fee, 129 USD. 129 USD. There is a processing fee of 10 USD. So in total, you will be charged 139 USD. Now, when you're preparing to sit for any PMI certification, be it PMP, be it CAPM, be it risk, be it discipline agile, I highly recommend that you get into membership. Be a PMI member. There are advantages of doing so because there are some resources that you get on the PMI website, which are very resourceful in developing yourself even as you prepare for the exam. So that is my advice. But it's not a must. You do not need to be a PMI member to sit for the PMP or the CAPM, or indeed any other certification from PMI. But I highly recommend, especially when you're doing your preparation for the exams. It adds value to you. It adds a lot of value to you, and many people join when they want to sit for the exam. But after that, okay, well, I'll just be paying this because they get a lot of value. So many templates that you will be taught in class. You will find them for free. You find the PMBOK guide for free. You find so many webinars for free, which some of the speakers in those webinars, if you were to attend the live event, you will be charged an arm and a leg, but you get all that information for free on projectmanagement.com. So I highly recommend that you join PMI, especially when you're thinking about the certifications, because there is more value that way. But it's not mandatory. You can still do the certification from PMI without being a member. So if you're a PMI member, your exam will cost you $225. If you're an unmember, the exam will cost you $300. So depending on the exchange rate, this in Kenyan currency, Kenyan shillings, this will vary. So in the event that you sit the exam and you fail the first time, we highly, if you do proper preparation, there is no reason of failing. But sometimes we do exams in different states of mind. Sometimes you could be very well prepared, and these things go wrong in the exam, and many things could go wrong. So in case you fail the exam, then for you to retake the exam. Now, if you're a PMI member, you pay $125. If you are an unmember, you pay $200. So that is the cost of taking the exam. So the two costs it's a direct cost that you get to incur should you want to sit for the exam. So that means whether you've gone for the training, or some of you could be having an undergraduate degree in project management, and you feel like, well, I could just use this. And especially if I know some universities use the PMBOK 6th edition. If your university are using the PMBOK 6th edition and you feel confident you can still apply directly to PMI and just get the certification. If it wasn't, you might want to seek a training. So the training will vary from institution to institution. So it usually will vary between 25,000 Kenyan shillings to a high of 50,000 Kenyan shillings. But sorry, this is the training is not about, there's nothing about PMI membership there. Sorry, that is just a range. Huh? So it will vary between this, but that is basically will vary from institution to institution. So for this, you just need to contact the institution that you want to get your training from and get a feel, you know, how much are you charging. So if you're going to institution X, they might tell you we're charging you 25,000. If you're going to institution Y, they might tell you we're charging you 35,000. So that will really vary from institution to institution. It's not standard, but the average price will be between 25, they're about maybe 20,000, 30,000 for CAPM. On the higher side, 50,000. I'm saying 50,000 because I have seen this. I've seen an institution that was charging 50,000, but that was a while back. But that is the range. So this is institution specific. It's not a standard fee. That is a training fee that you could incur in that. So when you will be sitting for the CAPM exam, CAPM has multiple choice questions. You will get 150 questions in your CAPM exam, and it's a 3-hour exam. It's a 3-hour exam, so you sit for 3 hours. So the time limit to complete the exam is 3 hours. The content is based on the Pembroke 6th edition, as I've said before. So in 2021, PMI previously to recertify your CAPM exam, you had to sit for the CAPM exam again, which to be very honest, I found it being a little bit unfair. But recently, I think in December of 2021, for you to recertify to basically renew your certification, you need to get 15 PDU points. That means for those of you in careers, you know, I know guys in procurement, guys in accountants, I'm not sure. I know guys, auditors, engineers, you have what you call continuous professional development units. CPD points. In engineering, we call them CPD points. So every year, I need to report CPD points through EBK website so that I basically, it should show that you're continually growing in your career. And if you're some levels of consulting engineer, so you cannot renew your license unless you've gotten the number of CPD points that the professional body requires of you. A similar case with PMI, it requires those of you who are now who are CAPM to actually acquire 15 PDU points. So if you're a PMP, you need 60 PDU points after every 3 years. So within 3 years, you need 15 PDU points. But I can tell you, having been a PMP the last many years, I mean, getting these PDU points are very straightforward. It's not a complicated issue. So that should not stress you. That should not stress you completely. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to end this evening's talk by just telling you this quote. And that is really the next step for you. Don't complain about where you are. Instead, pay the price for where you want to be. I mean, some of you are in this call this evening, and maybe you as I was speaking, I talked into you and I talked something and you thought, oh my goodness, this is a beautiful certification. This is indeed a certification that I should look into. I'm sure some of you 3 years down the line, I will be talking the same thing. And you will be like, oh my God, you know, I listened to you 3 years ago. You know what? I've not done anything. Then I was, what was it? Okay. You know, I did not have time. You know, it was too costly. We have to pay the price. We have to pay the price. If you want to be in a different level in your life, if you want to be in a different level in your career, if you want to be a different level in your level of thinking, we have to grow. We have to grow. But for us to grow, we have to pay the price. The price will be money. The price will be time. The price will be probably sleeping late so that you're able to pass your certifications, but we have to pay one price in one way or another. So that is really up to you. That is really up to you. I can only give information. Some of you will use the information. Some of you will not use the information. But one thing I'll tell you for free, at one point or another in your life, the first quote, you remember my story? The first quote, I mean, I love this quote. Let me go back there so that some of you who joined the class late needs to not to miss this quote. Probably write it down and just ask yourself, does this apply to me? Maybe one day it will. When opportunity comes, it's too late to prepare. That was a quote by John Wooden. When opportunity comes, it will be too late to prepare. The point is, we need to be ready. We need to prepare. We need to pay the price so that we're able to prepare. Don't complain where you are. Instead, prepare. I mean, pay the price. So, as a closing part, I'll be doing a free webinar, creating high-performing project teams on the March of 26th. It will be on a Saturday between 9 and 11. It is a beautiful, I mean, I'm preparing for that talk. And you don't want to miss this talk. It doesn't matter where you are, whether you're project manager, whether you're planning to be a project manager, whether you're planning to be a CEO of an organization. This is one talk that you really do not want to miss. This is a free talk. It's not a paid talk. It is a free talk. I mean, in the spirit of just developing project managers and project leaders, this is one talk that you really do not want to miss if you're keen on growing yourself as an individual. For those of you who might want to contact me to get to me, I'm going to leave this up as I hand over I think the mic to Brenda or Abdul, just for any question, Q&A. I think this is it. I've taken longer than I thought I could. Thank you all. Abdul, back to you. Or Jean.
Wow. That was such an insightful event. Before I give Abdul, Kevin, thank you so much. And thank you so much for the attendees. Thank you so much, members. Do we have any new members, by the way? Anyone looking forward to CAPM? Now that we know Kevin is a trainer, kindly get in touch. Kevin, maybe I can also give time for some questions. Any questions? Just before we give the Abdul to close.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us. I have Alan. You have a question, Alan?
So I have a quick question. So my quick question is, I'm here primarily just to interest other people who can, of course, enroll in CAPM. But my question is, post engineer there is that, as far as your career is concerned, looking at project management and engineering, what is how that what supplements the other? Does project management supplement engineering?
I'm sure somebody needs to mute. I can't hear the question, please.
I think there was some background noise. So sorry
Yeah,
about
good.
that.
Thank you. Now you're audible.
Good. So I was asking, does for you, like, does project management, and of course I'm relating this to CAPM, PMP, does and of course we know that these are certifications, but in your case, did CAPM or PMP supplement your engineering, or is it the other way around? You look at it like from a perspective of your project management skills come in first when running that project, or is it that your engineering skills come in first? So which one precedes the other? I mean, for you, and how would you advise others to look at it? To look at it from a principle of project management, or assuming they had a different career line, like what you mentioned earlier as an example, procurement, looking at that as a principle. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Well, from my case, to be very honest, I mean, and I think that is now what we're seeing in most industries. You will find that you are a very good programmer. or you are a very good engineer, or you're a very good finance person, then we'll pull you and give you a project to run with. I mean, that is what happens within most organizations until very recently. Before organization, organizations have always assumed that if you're a good person, a very good IT person, if we give you a project because you've excelled within your role, if we give you a project to run, then you should be able to run with that project. But that is not the case, because the skills and knowledge and information that you require to manage a project are very different from what you require. So for me, it has always been very complementary. But of course, the engineering preceded it because I mean, I couldn't get the role of being a project lead in the first place without being an engineer. Maybe for most people, it could probably, you might not be in an IT project if you're not in IT. So that is sometimes you find yourself that you're an accidental project manager. You know, an organization has hired you. You know, sometimes we get hired by organizations by to do a particular role. You know, we are hiring you as a finance expert. But then our project comes in finance. So who do we know? We know you. So we bring you on board. Then a good example I gave earlier is now we're seeing a lot of guys from procurement undertaking the certifications in project management. So I got interested in why exactly. I mean, why is the trend? Because I think in the period of training, I think we've trained last year alone about 15 or so guys who are guys who specialize in procurement. You know, they are basically in procurement of the organization. So I was asking them, why are you interested in the certification? I mean, it's an odd thing to see somebody, but they told me that, you see, now we're having to be brought on board to work with project teams. So we just want to appreciate on this whole idea, because you are a procurement officer, you have been told, hey, now you'll be working with Kevin on this project. I mean, I'll be talking jargon and you do not understand nothing. I'm talking about, I need this, because this is a critical activity. You do not know what exactly, what the hell on earth is a critical activity. So for most people, and how our curriculum and really our job environment is within the country, is that you'll find that you are in a particular line first, and then you're called upon maybe to go into managing a particular project. So to me, it's really been the other way around, that I have engineering, yes, then project management now made me a better in terms of managing projects, being a better project engineer, and I can tell you that it's actually a different experience. It's a different experience since I got my certification. I wish I had more time to talk about it, because
Yeah,
my
sure.
story is beautiful. I mean, I tell people every time I love it, but anyway, in the interest of time, let's
Sure.
have.
Sure. So sorry about that. Just was supporting question to that. The reason I was asking that is because I'm looking at it from a perspective of those PMs who primarily focus. I mean, we normally have, for example, hypothetically speaking, BSc or BA in project management, something like that. So for those ones who have a bias towards that and then come to certify to acquire additional skills, don't you think it will? I mean, project management as a skill in itself is biased against them in those particular fields. In that, it will mean that they can't go into to project manage projects that are in whatever domain, whether it's IT, procurement, health, etc. Or what's your thoughts? What are your thoughts on that? Thank you.
Well, I want to be very honest. One of the things I think, and this is really a personal opinion. I could be wrong, and we can open that to a different discussion, different case in future. But my feel has always been that the worst thing that universities in Kenya ever did, or anywhere in the world, was to have an undergraduate degree in project management. My thinking has always been that A master's in project management is fine because people already have a basis, a basic undergraduate degree. And then they are building now, at master's level, you're trying to master some aspect of your career that you're interested in. Because how I look at it is, for instance, when I'm talking, I know we always say that project managers are global in a way that you can manage any project, and that is true. But I always say that there is a mentality behind it, that mentality that if I have an IT project, it's very rare that you're going to have somebody from procurement leading it, for instance. So my personal feel, in a very honest way, has always been that I feel like that could have really. I wish that at the university level, university should have stopped giving undergraduates as a degree in project management, because you really limit their space of operation. But that said, for in case there's somebody within the call who has already taken that path, that is not to discourage you. Those are my very personal opinions. That is not to discourage you. But now to look forward is, how do you package yourself? Sometimes in the career world, it's more about packaging. I mean, I have seen guys who have done Bachelor of Education and are very good project engineer, project manager. I met one in some projects I was handling a while back for the World Bank, and it was a social project. It was a social development project, and I mean, he's doing an amazing job. So it's really on how you package yourself. But on a very personal level, I feel it is a disservice that universities did, and wherever I get a chance of advising a young person going to the university, I tell them no. I mean, I advocate for project management and all, but I really wish that you have a graduate degree, then now you go into the certifications or to a master's. That is a better route. But those are personal sentiments, nothing researched about it. I could be wrong. So, any other question?
So I think we have Collins, please proceed.
Okay, thank you for this opportunity. Also, I would like to thank you for the wonderful and informative session that we have had. I'm grateful because I've learned a lot. Well, my question is to Mr. Kevin. You were to tell us the differences between PNP and the CAPM. Kindly, just briefly.
Oh, I think I saw time was running up. But anyway, in terms of course content, the PMP and CAPM are more or less the same. We're using the PMBOK 6th edition for both certifications. PMP now has a slight inclusion of Agile. Now we focus also a little bit about Agile project management, and now it's forming a huge part of the exam, about 50% of the exam. So in that particular respect. But in terms of the exam, CAPM is more on testing your understanding of the concepts of project management. So it's more of, do you understand the concepts of project management? So it's not really scenario based. So in the PMP exam, the major difference actually is in the exam. The PMP exam focuses on scenarios. PMP assumes that you're a project manager. For you to be able to sit for the PMP exam, you must have had at least 3 years of working within a project environment. 3 years. That is about 4,500 hours. Those are typically 36 months. Those are 3 years. So the exams, why PMI requires you to have that experience is because the PMP exam is scenario based. So we will give you, you're being told, you are a project manager for company Y. The following scenario has occurred. How will you handle that? So if you've not worked before, if you've not been in a working environment, if you're just from university or you're still in university, that could pose a challenge because you cannot relate the challenges, the difficulties into, you'll be guessing or you will be just reading. So that is the major difference. The major difference is that PMP requires that you have experience, at least 3 years experience working within the project environment. And then PMI, or CAPM on the other hand, it's an entry level. So the CAPM exam is largely an exam, testing if you understand the concept, you will be sold. Which of the following is not a risk management approach for positive risk? So they have listed. So there are very few scenario-based questions. It's largely to test, it's not an application exam. It is an exam to test that you understand if it's what you could call, it's more of a theoretical exam, so that to see that you have understood the concepts of project management. On the other hand, the PMP exam is application based. It's application based. So we're giving you an exam and asking you a scenario. So you are looking as a project manager, what could I do in such a scenario? So that is the difference between PMP. The major difference between PMP and CAPM is a level of experience and a level of practice that it requires of you.
Collins, I hope that your question is answered. We have Kevin Omondi. Kevin Omondi, proceed, please.
Yes, I hope you can hear me. Can you hear me? Do you get me?
No, not so clear, Kevin. You could, I don't know if it's, I can hear you, but it seems to have some, it's not so clear.
Okay.
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Okay. I wanted to ask you, because IT has been, is becoming one of the major component. And so I want softwares, project management softwares should we look out for while learning about project management?
Okay, thank you, Kevin, and that's a very important question, because now also project management is becoming more of what do we call, trying to build into IT. So the major softwares, project management software, the leading one is the project management. Sorry, the Microsoft project, Microsoft MS project is leading in terms of softwares, and some of the content that you even learn within the course, be it on network, your network schedules, there's a topic we call earned value management, resource allocation, all those components. You can actually have them infused into these project softwares. So Microsoft project is leading in the industry. We have, of course, others. We have Primavera. Primavera is also Primavera is also coming up next. It's a good software for IT. We now have a little bit too much in terms of software. It's scheduling softwares. We have enterprise, some of the enterprise resource planning softwares like SAP has a component, a module for projects and managing basically projects within an organization, but that is usually tailor-made to a particular organization. We have, I think, Project 360. So we have so many softwares, but I always advise people, once you are good with one, many times you can navigate through the rest. So I always advise people to go for MS Project, because one, it's more popular, and it's easy to understand. And once you understand it, I mean, navigating through Primavera, it's just a few times before you can get through. So we have, and I can recommend MS Project and Primavera if you want to understand them better.
We don't have. I think we are done with any more questions. Kevin, I hope your question has been answered. Yeah. All right. I think that is it. Kevin, I'm really so grateful for your time. It was very insightful. When you were speaking, actually, I went through where I also started from. I'm a technical person, and I actually did so many projects, and then I realized, hey, wait a minute, I need to put value in what I'm doing. And it was the best decision ever that I did, me being certified today. So for those who are really looking forward to sit for their certifications, I wish you all the best. As Kevin iterated, we have the PMI.com, just be a member, there's so many details there. So much you will learn as you're even sitting for your exam and preparing. And Kevin is also a trainer. So Kevin, thank you so much as well for sharing your how to get in touch with you. I think I've also requested for an invite from LinkedIn just to keep in touch. I've learned as well so much as well. And I look forward to having that discussion that you talked about. I think I'll attend. We might, if you also share with us, you can also try to share with the team and PMI so that we can also benefit with that talk that is coming through. And I will not forget, when the opportunity comes, it may be late to prepare. We kept saying that, and I don't think I can ever forget that. So Abdul, over to you, and good evening to everyone else. Bye bye.
Thank you, Brenda, and thank you everybody for attending to this evening's webinar. Thank you, Kevin, for the very insightful presentation you did. I hope members have really gained from your presentation. I wish everybody a good evening, and I close here for tonight. Thank you, everybody.